jury has reached a verdict in the trial of a woman accused of killing a private investigator in Pensacola 2 years ago.
A person disappeared. And she's married? This is the moment where
it's real, dude.
And now you're in the courtroom looking stupid. Back in 2017, a lady named Taylor Wright went missing. This is around the end of the year, around the fall. Just to summarize it pretty quickly, Taylor had come into a pretty significant amount of money, and she wanted to hide the money. So she gave it to her friend, Ashley McArthur. And Ashley's like, yeah, totally. I gotcha. I'll hold on to this. I'll hold on real tight. Well, after a while, Taylor comes back and is like, hey, Ashley, I need that money. Ashley didn't have the money. She'd spent it. And so afterwards, she didn't have the means to give this back to Taylor. I don't think she wanted to tell Taylor what was going on. Suddenly, Taylor ends up missing. Ashley was charged with the murder of Taylor Wright, and this is a pretty popular case. A lot of you guys might have heard, but I've never seen the defense speak. I've never heard the prosecutor speak. Now, clearly, because Ashley went to jail, we must have a pretty strong prosecutor, but you guys know I'm interested in court cases. You're interested in court cases. We like to watch this. Let's see how strong our prosecutor was, or was there just a really weak defense? We're going to kick off with just the opening statements from the state and from the defense. These are only about 20 minutes long. I'm assuming that they get right to the point, right into the nitty-gritty.
So this
That's
case
Ashley.
Involves a lot of different pieces of information and a lot of different witnesses. So what I'm about to do for you in my opening statement, hopefully, is give you a very general outline of what this case is
Wait,
about.
how much money did Ashley take? I think it was like $30,000 or something. Guys, it was $34,000. Can you imagine sitting up here in a courtroom fighting for your life over $34,000? Don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, but that's not a lot of money to be stupid. That's not a lot of money to throw your life away and murder somebody else. That is so stupid.
In mid-2017, Taylor Wright, the deceased in this case, was entangled in some court proceedings and some financial issues with her ex-husband, Jeff Wright. And while that was all going on, Taylor Wright withdrew $100,000 from the bank when she wasn't supposed to. And then she was trying to hide that money from her ex-husband. Taylor was transferring money to other accounts. She was withdrawing cash. She was taking out cashier's checks. And she also asked her friend, this defendant, Ashley McArthur, to help hide the money. Now,
so Taylor probably, she didn't want everything to go to her husband or didn't want to have to split all this stuff. She wanted to keep $100,000 for herself. She probably took out some money in cash, put $20,000 towards some investment. She gave Ashley McArthur $34,000. She just started distributing the money with intentions to collect it all back. And I believe Ashley had the biggest chunk of money as a whole.
Ashley McArthur at the time was running a business that her parents opened some time ago called Pensacola Automatic Amusement. They supplied pool tables, jukeboxes, video games to local bars and businesses. One of those businesses that Ashley worked with was Sticks Billiards or Sticks Pool Hall. And you will hear that Ashley McArthur was romantically involved with the owner of that bar. And the only reason that matters for your purposes is because she was trying to help his business financially.
Okay.
And she was also spending a lot of money on him personally.
No. So while Taylor was asking Ashley McArthur to hold the money, Ashley was hanging out with some dude and she was playing sugar mama trying to impress him. I remember this now. I think she even bought him a motorcycle.
And on August 10th of 2017, Ashley McArthur added Taylor Wright to one of those accounts.
Okay.
A few weeks after that, in early September of 2017, Taylor Wright had a court date that was coming up with her ex-husband. And Taylor told this defendant, Ashley McArthur, repeatedly that she needed to get to the bank. She needed to get to the bank, she needed to get her money out, and she needed to put it in an escrow account with this mess with her ex-husband, or she was going to be in trouble with the court.
Okay.
You will see those text messages, and the reason they're important is because you will see the pressure that Taylor Wright was putting on Ashley.
Tetroxin said, what did they take notes of? Absolutely nothing. Just trying to distract. Just trying to act like this isn't happening. Just trying to feel in control of something. Just wanting to feel in control of this little piece of paper and this pen in her hand, because it's all she's got.
And the reason that matters is because the money was gone. Ashley McArthur had spent it. Mm-hmm. The text messages that you will see.
Text messages. Dial it back.
Start August 29th of 2017. Message from Taylor to this defendant.
Okay, Taylor to Ashley.
She texted, I need to get the keys to the safety deposit box. I've got to get this ring in there. I can't be running around with $50K in my bag.
Okay, Taylor's trying to get the
August
money.
31st, text message from Taylor to this defendant. If at all possible, can we go to the bank today? I've got to get this done. My account closed and my jewelry in the safety deposit box. Court is next week.
So Taylor had been asking for the money for weeks. Ashley was trying to figure out what she was going to do. And Taylor was very nicely applying pressure. I need the money. I need the money. I need to get there.
I have to get to the bank tomorrow. On September 5th, a message from Taylor to this defendant. Any idea on a time to go to the bank? Again on September 5th, a message from Taylor to this defendant. We only have 2 more hours to get to the bank. You almost ready? September 5th, this defendant sent a text to Taylor, said just called the bank. They closed at 4. We have to go in the morning. What time are you free? September 6th, Taylor again sent a message to this defendant. I have to get that get in that deposit box today and get those papers submitted by 4. I'm out of time.
Wow.
Again on
What was
September 6th,
Ashley saying,
Taylor sent
though?
a message to this defendant. Ash, there is no way I will make it there and to the bank in 10 minutes. Again on September 6th, a message from Taylor to the defendant. They are going to hold me in contempt for not paying child support and not putting the $25K into the escrow account.
I just have to ask, is this common in divorces? People fighting over $100,000, $25,000. I'm over here talking about, like, I don't know, what would we be splitting? What would we be splitting? Do people normally have hundreds of thousands that they're splitting like that? $50K, $25K? Damn. We might be fighting over the last $350 in the account, but $100,000.
On September 7th, Taylor sent a message to this defendant. I've got to get to the bank ASAP this morning and get into the box and deposit that money. A few minutes later, she sent another text to this defendant. I'm going to be held in contempt if I don't get that money in the escrow account. Again on September 7th,
She trusted
Taylor sent
Ashley.
a message to this defendant. They could potentially put me in jail if I don't pay the child support like today. September 7th, text message from Taylor to the defendant. Please don't be late. They are going to put me in jail if I don't make that deposit today. Again on September 7th, Taylor sent a message to this defendant. They are going to check your ID in order to get into that box. So I need you to come with me. September 7th, around 2 p.m., Taylor sent a message to the defendant, said, waiting on you at my house. Bank closes at 4. This is way too important for me not to do today. I'm under a court order or my ass will get thrown in jail. Later that same day as that text on September 7th, Taylor was at a restaurant called Twin Peaks over on Bayou Boulevard with her girlfriend.
Okay.
And as I explained to you in jury selection,
Did she get the money?
Taylor had previously been married to a man. They had a child together. But at the time of this incident, she was dating a lady named Cassandra Waller. So Taylor and Cassandra were at Twin Peaks on September 7th, and this defendant, Ashley McArthur, met them up there. And you will hear that Taylor and Ashley made plans on the 7th for Ashley to pick Taylor up the next morning on Friday, September 8th.
Okay.
And they were going to go to the bank.
So that means that Ashley has stalled going to the bank a whole nother day. Taylor was frantically sending all of these texts on September 7th, and somehow Ashley gets her to, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. I know you need my ID to get the money out. We'll do it tomorrow. This could be the day. The other thing is, Ashley didn't care if she got to that box on time because she knew she was going to kill her. The prosecution
Friday,
story makes sense to me. I don't know how the defense is going to follow this up.
2017 is the last day that Taylor Wright is known to be alive.
Yep.
She was with this defendant, Ashley McArthur, and they were supposed to be going to the bank. Taylor Wright was never seen alive again. So on September 8th, as planned, this defendant showed up at Cassandra Waller's house to pick up Taylor Wright. And the reason she went to Cassandra's house is because Taylor was in the process of moving in. As a matter of fact, a lot of her belongings were boxed up in a box truck that belonged to Ashley McArthur, and it was parked in Cassandra's driveway. But in any event, Ashley showed up at Cassandra's that morning as planned. At around 10 o'clock that morning, Taylor and Ashley left together, and then Cassandra went about her business.
That's a
that day.
girlfriend.
She sent Taylor a couple of text messages that morning, and she would get responses from Taylor.
Responses from Taylor or responses from Ashley McArthur with Taylor's phone?
Taylor stopped around 11:30 that morning on September 8th. Cassandra sent Taylor a couple of more texts after lunch, and there was absolutely no response from Taylor. Finally, around 4 o'clock, Cassandra sent a text to this defendant. She said, "Are you okay? Taylor has not responded to me in hours." This defendant replied, "Yes, ma'am." Cassandra texted back and said, "Can you please have Taylor call me?" Within that minute of that text, this defendant called Cassandra. And she said her and Taylor were at a farm out in Milton, and that Taylor was riding a horse at that moment. You will see during the course of this trial that at the time Ashley made that call and said that her and Taylor were out at a farm in Milton, she was actually in Pensacola. Police obtained her cell tower records, and those cell tower records show the tower location of when a cell phone makes a call.
If you guys didn't know, with cell phone towers, when you make a phone call, whichever tower is the closest based on your provider, that one's going to ping. So it's going to be, okay, they're kind of near this. But they can also triangulate a location sometimes by figuring out which 3 towers you ping off of and get a pretty generalized location between those 3. So cell phone towers really give a lot of information.
She was not anywhere near Milton when she made that phone call to Cassandra. But during this conversation,
wasn't where she said she was.
Cassandra said, "Please have Taylor call me when she's done riding this horse."
So that means that while Cassandra was texting, Cassandra's the girlfriend, she's texting like Taylor, she's texting Ashley, and Ashley's making up all these excuses, and Cassandra's like, okay, well, when she's done riding the horse, tell her to call me. Ashley was making excuses this whole time.
Around 7:30 p.m. that same day, all on September 8th, this is 3.5 hours after Ashley said they were in Milton and Taylor was on a horse, Cassandra still had not heard from Taylor. She texted Ashley McArthur, this defendant, again. She said, "This isn't okay." Ashley called Cassandra shortly after that. And Ashley said that after her and Taylor left this farm in Milton, they went back to Ashley's house. And around 5 or 5:15, Taylor said she was going to call an Uber and she was going to have a drink. And then Ashley never saw her again. Within about 20 minutes of this phone call between Ashley and Cassandra,
how did she get caught?
Cassandra received a text from Taylor's phone. And it said something to the effect of, "I'll call you later. I need to get my life organized." What will be clear to you by the end of this trial is that this defendant sent that text from Taylor's phone to Cassandra.
How did they
because
prove
Taylor
that?
was dead at that point, and this defendant still had her cell phone.
Oh.
Later that same night,
Ashley, what are you writing for? You know what you did. You know what they're saying. You know what your story is. Like, what is the point of writing on the paper? I mean, I know I just said what I think it is a few minutes ago, but it's just so annoying to see.
this defendant sent Cassandra a text and said, "I just got a text from Taylor." And then she screenshotted it and sent it to Cassandra. And it was Taylor supposedly saying, "I'm okay, I just need time to think," that court was stressing her out. And again, what will be clear to you is that Taylor did not send that text. It was this defendant, because this defendant had Taylor's phone.
Oh my God.
On Saturday, September 9th, there was still nothing from Taylor. On Sunday, September 10th, Cassandra called the Pensacola Police Department. But at that point, it had only been 48 hours since Taylor had gone missing. On Monday, September 11th, Cassandra had still not heard from Taylor. And what you will hear is that her and Taylor had kind of been having some issues.
This was since the
There was
8th, so 3
meeting
days.
that Taylor and Cassandra had at Ashley McArthur's house, where Taylor had admitted she'd been talking to somebody else and she had tried cocaine a few times. So when Cassandra didn't hear from Taylor for a few days, she was upset, she was angry, all these things came back, and she wanted Taylor's stuff gone from her house. So Cassandra called this defendant, Ashley McArthur, and said, hey, can you come get your box truck with all of Taylor's stuff in it, and can we put it at your business? The Pensacola Automatic Amusement had a very large warehouse, so Taylor's belongings were taken to that warehouse on September 11th. On Thursday, September 12th, there was still nothing from Taylor. On Wednesday, the 13th, there was still nothing from Taylor. On Thursday, September 14th, Cassandra went to the police department and formally filed a missing persons report.
All right. It took her about 6 days to file that missing persons report, but when you think about it, if you and your significant other are having, issues, and then they say they need to clear their head, you're like, okay, maybe. And now she's got this friend, Ashley, who's giving you all these excuses, and then you're going to have a day of self-doubt. Like, it makes sense. And it sounds, to me, that period of time makes sense.
That same day, Cassandra and Ashley went through Taylor's car, which was parked at Cassandra's house, and they found some guns that Taylor had in there. This defendant took some pictures of them, sent them to Cassandra, I guess, for documentation purposes. And Ashley agreed to keep Taylor's guns in her safe.
Ashley agreed to keep Taylor.
Friday, September 15th,
Did she shoot
Detective
her with
Richard
her own
Gigliotti
gun?
with the Pensacola Police Department was assigned to the case. And obviously one of the first people that he wants to speak with is Ashley McArthur. She was the
That's
last
right.
person known to be with Taylor Wright. So he called Ashley McArthur on the phone, and she basically said, yes, we're friends. We were together on September 8th. I picked her up. We ran around. We went to this farm in Milton, and then we went back to my house, and Taylor left. A few days later, Detective Gigliotti went to Cassandra's home and was going through some of Taylor's belongings that were still there, and he found a $19,000 cashier's check made out to Taylor Wright.
Okay.
And thought, why would someone voluntarily go missing and leave behind $19,000? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That same day, Detective Gigliotti went to Ashley McArthur's house. She was home that day with her husband, Zach McArthur. And Detective Gigliotti had a recording.
Wasn't Ashley buying stuff for some dude she met at the bar? And she's married?
Wait a minute.
Detective Gigliotti had a recording device, and so you will hear the conversation he had with Ashley McArthur on that day. But she essentially gave the same timeline. She said that Taylor was upset on the 8th about this impending court date. She was worried about going to jail. She was hiding money from Jeff. This defendant described this farm in Milton that her and Taylor supposedly went to on September 8th. And it's way out in East Milton, past the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. And when discussing this Milton farm, she was specifically asked by Detective Gigliotti if there were any other farms or properties that she went to. And this defendant said, my aunt has some property at the north end of the county, but we don't really go there. And Detective Gigliotti said, well, do you have an address? She said, I don't, but I'll get it for you. That same day, Detective Gigliotti asked Ashley if she would come down to the police station and give a formal interview, which she did.
Okay.
And you will see and hear that interview. She again gave the same timeline, a little more detail. Said she picked up picked up Taylor that morning. They ran around. They went to Beulah to look at some house or something that Taylor was looking at in her private investigating business. They stopped at a gas station in Beulah. They went to another place off a scenic highway, and then they went out to this farm in Milton. She said after the farm in Milton, they went back to her house. Again, Taylor said she was going to get an Uber, and then Ashley went inside, and when she came out, Taylor was gone. During this interview on September 18th, Detective Gigliotti again asked about this property at the North End. When he asked what road it was off, this defendant said, "I can get it for you." Well, ladies and gentlemen, the road is her middle name. It's
What?
Britt Road. She's Ashley Britt McArthur.
I don't
It's
get
named
that
after
part.
her
Wait.
family. Detective Gigliotti did not know anything about that at the time he was speaking with Ashley, but she never got back to him about this property or provided any information.
Is it not real? Wait, no, the road is real. She's pretending she doesn't know. Okay, all right.
Detective Gigliotti said, "Well, when you get this information about this other farm, please let me know. I'd like to see what I can do about getting out there." She also told Detective Gigliotti on this date that Taylor Wright had never been to that property on the North End. On September 24th, this defendant called Detective Gigliotti and asked if there were any updates. She told him that she thought Taylor
Yeah,
was
she would
most
have known.
comfortable in Destin, and that's probably where she was. On September 28th, this defendant called Detective Gigliotti again and asked about any updates. October 2nd, the defendant called Detective Gigliotti again, asked about any updates. This time she said maybe they should check treatment centers. On October 19th, 2017, Ashley McArthur was interviewed again at the Pensacola Police Department. But by this point, the investigators had gotten Ashley's cell phone tower records, and they'd also gotten Taylor's cell phone tower records.
They have Taylor's cell phone records and they have Ashley's, so they're going to see that those cell phones were together the whole time because Ashley was texting from Taylor's phone.
And they found out where this property was at the north end of the county, the one that she had kept acting like she didn't know the name of. The address is actually 2201 Britt Road. And they had gotten bank records for Taylor and for Ashley. And what they found was that there was a $34,000 cashier's check made out to Taylor Wright that was deposited in August of 2017. And they asked Ashley about this cashier's check, and she acknowledged that she did deposit that check. The signature did not look anything like Taylor Wright's. This defendant said she did not sign it, but she did deposit it. She was then again asked about her whereabouts on the 8th. She stayed with the same timeline, the farm in Milton, this gas station in Beulah. And then you will see that she was confronted with her cell phone tower records.
So the interesting thing here is going to be, so far, I feel like I'm following this prosecutor pretty well. Like, she's not overly emotional. She's not, overly invested in it. She's not giving us a lot of that raw emotion that some prosecutors do. Like, we saw that with Juan Martinez. But she is giving us a play-by-play of what happened. What's going to be interesting for me here is to see how Ashley's defense team pokes a hole in this. It seems pretty black and white. She gave her the money, she spent the money, didn't want to give the money back, and then the next day decided to murder her and pretend to be her.
But now on October 19th of 2017, this defendant said that she and Taylor did go out to that property on September 8th of 2017.
Okay.
The last day Taylor was seen and known to be alive. And she said they went out there to pick up some lockbox that Taylor had put out there. And the police were like, "Why in the world have you never mentioned this before?"
Ashley has a pattern of stalling. She stalled when Taylor was asking for the money. She stalled when she spoke with Cassandra Waller on pretending to be Taylor. And now she's stalling with the investigators.
Anything about them being out at this property at the North End. Her response, this defendant said, "Well, Taylor asked me not to tell anyone." Ever.
Oh my God.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that same day, on October 19th of 2017, while this defendant was being interviewed, police were executing a search warrant out at that property on Britt Road. And located along a fence line in a wooded area were the remains of Taylor Wright. She was
found her.
skeletonized. She was wrapped in a hammock. She had a bullet hole in the back right side of her skull.
Probably behind her, had no idea was coming. Back right side of her skull, I'm sure Ashley just walked up behind her with a gun.
A few days after Taylor's body was found on Britt Road, an investigator went to the Home Depot out there on 9 Mile and located a video of this defendant, Ashley McArthur, in Home Depot buying potting soil and concrete on September 9th, the day after.
She writing real fast now. Point blank, dude. All right, now let's take a look at the trial defense opening statement. What kind of story are they gonna spin to try to make me believe that Ashley McArthur is not involved?
Now, during this trial, there will be no evidence introduced showing you exactly when and where Taylor Wright was killed. What the evidence is going to show you is that sometime around September 8th, 2017, that was a Friday, into September 9th, 2017, that Taylor Wright stopped communicating with people she knew.
Okay.
But you're going to learn from the evidence that that was not exactly surprising for Taylor Wright, given everything that she had going on in her life at that time. You see, recently, Taylor Wright had gone through a contentious divorce with her ex-husband, Jeff Wright. And in the summer of 2017, things were amped up between Jeff Wright and Taylor Wright.
Okay.
Mr. Wright was alleging that Taylor Wright had recently taken somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 from a joint account.
We heard
and
that.
Mr. Wright was fighting to try to get this money back from Taylor Wright.
Okay.
According to Mr. Wright, he's going to tell you that Taylor Wright is making this extremely difficult to deal with this money. Mr. Wright is having to resort to taking Taylor Wright back to court to deal with this money. In fact, you will see that on September 7th, 2017, a Thursday, there was a hearing scheduled in Okaloosa County to deal with this money issue between Jeff Wright and Taylor Wright. And this is just a day or two before Taylor Wright stops communicating with people.
So far, this matches up with everything the prosecutor said, but I'm assuming at some point this is just going to take a hard left into blaming Taylor for something. Let's see what
Now,
happens.
the evidence is going to show you that Miss Wright did not appear for this hearing in Okaloosa County to deal with this money. Mr. Wright, the evidence will show you that he's clearly frustrated with Taylor Wright, and he's not surprised at all when she doesn't show up to court on September 7th, 2017.
Because Ashley told her the next
You're going to
day.
hear from witnesses that know Taylor Wright that would tell you that she was consumed in this battle with her ex-husband and had a win-at-all-cost attitude against Jeff Wright.
A lot of people do during
Now, as
divorces.
those issues with Taylor Wright and Jeff Wright are going on, at the same time, spring 2017, Taylor Wright meets a woman named Cassandra Waller.
Okay.
Most people that know Cassandra Waller refer to her as Cass. You may hear some witnesses talk about Cass. Soon after Taylor Wright met Miss Waller, they became involved in a romantic relationship. The evidence is going to show you that this was described as a volatile relationship.
Okay.
You see, just weeks before Taylor Wright stops communicating while
Is
in
he
this
gonna
relationship
try to blame
with
it on
Miss Waller,
Cassandra?
the relationship hits several snags. First, Cassandra Waller learns that Taylor Wright is continuing some sort of relationship with another woman over in Biloxi, Mississippi area. Additionally, it comes to Miss Waller's attention that Taylor Wright is also possibly using illegal drugs. Now, as you can imagine, none of this sits well with Cassandra Waller.
One tactic that attorneys will use is trying to make the victim unlikable. So he's trying to say she was in this battle with her husband, she had taken all this money, she was fighting with her new girlfriend, they're doing drugs. Like, he's just trying to discredit her as much as possible. He's trying to do it softly because he doesn't want to make his argument look bad.
As this investigation was ongoing, you will learn that our client, Mrs. McArthur, spoke with law enforcement on several occasions as the state laid out in their opening statement. Some of these conversations that our client had with law enforcement were face-to-face conversations. Some were over the phone. Some took place down at the Pensacola Police Department. The evidence will show you that Mrs. McArthur, while being questioned about Taylor Wright and what she knew, was not always forthcoming with all the information she had. That she did not provide complete information on everything she knew about Taylor Wright.
He's like, all right, my client lied, but let's just get that out of the way. Let's get that out of the way, but let's drag out her divorce and the money issues in her current relationship. But Ashley McArthur lied, but that's not what this is about.
As the state informed you in their opening, when Taylor Wright was found along the fence line at the Britt family farm, there did appear to be a cement-type substance on top of her body, as well as some dark-looking potting soil on top of it. The evidence is going to show you that Ashley McArthur, on September 9th, 2017, it was a Saturday, went to a local Home Depot and purchased some cement potting soil.
You're telling me that he's gonna try to talk in circles, bore me, and then slowly slip in that Ashley McArthur went and bought cement after a person disappeared. She just bought a little cement, just a little potting soil, just a little bit, and it's on video. But anyways, back to my boring ass opening statement. Just listen to the way he slips that in again.
There did appear to be a cement-type substance on top of her body.
And there was cement at the scene. He bored me so much that I missed the fact that he said the cement was at the scene of the crime.
On the fence line where Taylor Wright's body was found on October 19th, 2017.
Can we watch at 1.5? Witchy Juice, you might be the MVP today because this video is only 20 minutes long. Like, we have to finish it. We got to hear the other side out. We can't be like, oh, I don't want to hear your side out because you're fucking boring, even though, like, that's, you know, what people are feeling. I put it on 1.25.
Now, to fully understand this case, you're going to have to learn a little bit something about the relationship that Taylor Wright had with Ashley McArthur. Ashley McArthur knew Taylor Wright for over a year before Taylor Wright went missing. The evidence is going to show you they were friends.
Wait,
they hung out.
They only knew each other for a year? I can't imagine trusting somebody with $35,000. So it makes me feel like Ashley must have been very convincing, very manipulative, very like, oh yeah, you can trust me. Look, I'm gonna be straight up. I wouldn't even give my mother $30,000 to hold on to, okay? I've been through enough. I don't trust any of you. Ashley must have been real convincing.
Mrs. McArthur gave Taylor Wright a key to her house. We believe the evidence is going to show you that the relationship between the two of them was very good.
She had a
the evidence will
key
show you,
to
as the
her
state mentioned in
house.
their opening, that they did some financial transactions together. I believe there will be evidence that they had conversations about starting a business together.
I just realized this. I think what the attorney is trying to do, like, we just heard him throw Taylor under the bus in a few different instances. Now he's trying to paint a picture like, wait, Taylor trusted Ashley. They had a good relationship. She gave her all this money to hold on to. She had the key to her house. Like, he's really trying to put Ashley up on a pedestal.
The longer that Taylor Wright was missing and people couldn't locate her, things in this case began to really heat up. Multiple law enforcement agencies became involved. You had
Things
PPD,
began to heat up.
Escambia
There
County
was a
Sheriff's
missing
Office,
person. Somebody dies and he's talking about some things are really heating up.
As the investigation continues, more and more focus is put on Ashley McArthur. At the time of this investigation, she lived over on Raintree Drive, which is over in the East Hill area. She lived there with her husband, Zach McArthur. She lived there with her daughter, Savannah. You're going to learn that law enforcement searched her residence 3 times.
Okay.
First time law enforcement came over, they asked for consent. Can we look in your house? And
But
you're
what
gonna
would
hear
they
that
be
Ashley
looking
McArthur said,
for?
Sure. And law enforcement searched the house. You're going to learn that the house on Raintree Drive was searched 2 more times pursuant to a search warrant.
Now he's trying to say, oh, they searched the house 2 or 3 times and they never found anything. Justin Leona said he's just trying to muddy the waters and make it sound more complicated than it is. In the years that I've been covering true crime and the, like, dozens of cases, like, we've gone over in the triple digits of cases at this point. Whenever people try to muddy the waters in anything, not just true crime, even if it's in your waking life, even if it's in a conversation, when they try to muddy the waters, be suspicious, because the truth is often pretty straightforward. When somebody finally comes clean about what actually happened, you usually look at it and say, oh my God, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, yeah, that happened. Always be suspicious when somebody's trying to muddy the waters. Casey Anthony tried to muddy the waters. In this case, somebody in chat said it really well. The prosecution wasn't even that crazy. It was just the defense either sucked or didn't have much to work with. You know what? I'm gonna say this case is adjourned. Let's just take a look at her face when she realizes that all of us know she fucking did it. You guys know I respect the courtroom.
In the Circuit Court in Forest, Gambia County, Florida, State of Florida versus Ashley Britt McArthur, case number 1717CF005844A. Verdict as to the charge in count 1, we the jury find the defendant Ashley McArthur guilty of first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm as charged in the indictment.
Goodbye.
So say we all.
Goodbye.
Is this your individual verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole?
Sorry. Y'all, I cannot. This is the moment where shit gets real, dude. This is always where it gets real. Y'all will be in your house looking at some $30,000, want to buy your man a motorcycle, want to buy a little jewelry, go out for a little Outback Steakhouse, and then when your friend wants the money back, you're like, oh, well, I'll just kill her because I think I'm fucking smart enough to get away with it. And now you're in the courtroom looking stupid. You in the courtroom with a whole bunch of people sitting there saying, yes, that's what I voted. Yes, that's what I voted. This is the moment this shit gets real. I really hope that y'all watch my videos or you watch my streams sometimes, and like before you do something stupid, you think, man, do I really want to be in a courtroom with a bunch of people I don't know deciding the trajectory of the rest of my life? Well, I think I'll put the gun down. What is going on? Do not be like this out here looking stupid. What do I love? Justice. When do I want it? Now? And I will not settle for less. Nobody else gets really excited by justice? Well, I mean, okay, clearly you guys do. Can you guys imagine a bozo during jury duty? Like, okay, guys, this is our fucking